Good morning. Welcome to the replay. This is Ryan Miller from Parent Dome, where my primary mission is to speak about how to keep kids safe on the internet. I speak to parents and caregivers, also address children, about the three major topic areas, which are awareness, oversight, and control. Yesterday, I had a great broadcast where I provided some information relative to my contrarian view of trolls, and I did a presentation and I did some description as to the different kinds of trolls that are out there, and that went very well. Angel Eyes, good to see you. Lycopedia, Richard, good to see you guys. So yesterday was a great broadcast where I was going through trolls, very interactive, a lot of participation, and I really appreciated it. And those that commented during that broadcast, hopefully you received a direct message and or a tweet from me that gave you access to the location where I had that presentation archived for you. Afternoon, good to see you. So, been doing a lot of things. Last night I put some pen to paper and start. Oh, Richard, you already should, you know all this stuff. I'll get it to you, buddy. Sorry about that. You've got more inside information than other people do. So, last night I had some thoughts, and I wanted to put a lot of thoughts of these things to paper. And thank you for my beard. I'm going for the prophet status. And I created this list of five top tips. And when I was going through this, I was like, you know what? I talked about these, but I haven't talked about them in detail on Periscope that was in my head. So what I wanted to do is I'm going to do a series of Periscopes that are going to be the top tips. And this is just going to be the first top tip. And I'm not going to read what I wrote, but I am going to be referring to it as I'm having this conversation with you, because it's a little unusual, unorthodox, because people are looking at it's the top online activities that put your child at risk. And that's kind of the direction which I'm taking this. But this first tip is what I call the number one risk of activities that put your child at risk on the internet. And the first thing is, ready for this? It's no oversight, supervision, or inspection. Regardless of what activity is happening on the internet, the number one risk is having no oversight, no supervision, inspection, or verification. We're trusting, but not verifying. Now let me reason with you as to why this is the number one risk. I am not a church worker. No, I think you meant worker, but no, I am not. I heavily support and invested into the church community, but I am not a church worker. Pamela Butter, thanks for coming in. So the reason I say that awareness, supervision, oversight, inspection is the number one reason is because parents are not performing that task. They have, and I think there's reasons for this, because I don't think they truly understand the dynamic of the internet experience when they have attributed this particular status of their child. Remember, I keep saying that the parental response is not my child, not my child. Whatever behaviors that they have relative to their kids and technology, they are always going to say not my child, because they believe that their child is this angelic deity that resides in their home that has no ability to lie, has no ability to manipulate, has no ability to hide. These are the attributes in which the parents are attributing to this little angel that is inside their roof. And that when they give them access to certain things, this angel would never have a behavior that would lie, manipulate, or hide. So they don't need to oversee what this child is doing because they trust that little angel to be angelic. Now, Gordon G., good to see you. What I suggest is that parents should use their own experience in life if they had been raised by their own parents being treated as an angel. And how were they in their own behavior as being this little angel? Did they flex their wings or did they pluck feathers out? Don't go too far as a... No, I'm not, Gordon. Oh, this is a sweater. Sorry, it's not a priest. Sorry. This is like a parachute sweater. So when I'm saying that parents are thinking that their children are this angel little kid, and that when they experience the internet, that they themselves, their own behavior is going to be angelic, because they're such fantastic parents. They set these wonderful boundaries and have these rules and expectations. And hey, Fran, did you get an email from me last night? So they think their children will behave inside these boundaries. Is that something you can help me on, or am I reaching too far, young lady? I'm holding my hands together. I'm waiting for Fran if she'll give me a smile. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. No urgency. Remember, I have no pride of anything that I do, so you can bleed all over it. So they're thinking that their child interacting with the internet is going to be making these wise choices based upon their parenting abilities, the boundaries that they set forth, the punishments, the reward structure. That's all great. And because I believe the parents are only aware of one type of experience on the internet, or they're just choosing to believe that this is the one kind of experience. And the one kind of experience on the internet is what I refer to as a sandbox. That you can go into this little room and you can play on this little application environment, that you're interacting with things in this room. Let me give you an example of sandbox. Downloading and playing the game Solitaire on your phone. Just you playing against the deck of cards. That's a sandbox. That's it. The only feedback you have is that game. So when you make a mistake with the cards, the game, you may lose the game, you restart the game again, you play another game. The interactivity is just inside this tight little box based upon the parameters of the game. So I believe parents believe that their kids are performing in this sandbox experience of the internet. Now, I suggest that their sandbox over time gets wider and wider. Their understanding of that experience, they may change the game thinking it's a sandbox experience, but all of a sudden now we're dealing with bi-directional communication, feedback. Whether that feedback comes in the form of a character, whether that feedback comes in a comment, a text, an image, a video, likes, shares, this is all feedback. It is a dynamic experience. So when we go from one experience, Rashid Kenji, thanks for coming in. We go from the sandbox experience and then we go into YouTube, which is not a sandbox. This is an experience where the kids can participate in a video, then all of a sudden they can participate again by commenting. They can also participate again by sharing. These on the surface are not so bad. So when a parent is thinking, okay, my kid can watch this YouTube video and maybe they'll comment, maybe they'll share, or maybe they aren't aware of those functions that they can do that within YouTube. But they have no eyes on to see how their child is experiencing YouTube. The assumption they're making is they're just watching a video. Their assumption is that they know what type of videos their child will want to see, or they'll know what their child is searching to see, but they're not going to see how they may be commenting or liking it, or they may not be aware of how they may be receiving feedbacks to their comments that they are participating on YouTube. So many parents are under this sandbox impression that that's the way their kids are experiencing the internet. They broaden the extension of the sandbox into a more open platform like YouTube, but consider it a sandbox because there's no feedback, but there actually is feedback. Then they extend the sandbox even further, which is no longer a sandbox. We are now immersed into this digital connection that has multiple forms of feedback. Now, the assumption for the parent is that their little angel, their little child angel, is not doing anything bad. Absolutely, Richard. Periscope is one of those. But the thinking is that Periscope is a sandbox. It's only one-way communication. But they're ignoring this bi-direction of the communication of the stuff that's coming in. So I'm saying the parents are evaluating their children as these angels, and I'm referring to this woman kind of that's been doing her periscopes, talking about screen time, maintenance, whatever. She believes her children are angels. They will never, she's even used the words, my kids have not done anything wrong. They aren't doing anything bad when they have a 20-minute time limit. I know. I mean, this is delusion, but this is the power of a parent living in denial when they can assign their child angelic qualities. I forget what time her scope is. Is it? I forget. Is it 3 o'clock? I forget. When you attribute your child to be an angel and don't recognize the depravity of all humanity, and using your own example as a lens to filter what your children are doing, unless you've had an immaculate conception, your child is not an angel. You bounced off. That's funny. So my point is that when you are willing to just trust your kid is this innocent little creature, that they have never lied to you, they have never manipulated you, they have never hid anything from you. If your child is like that, I think you need to go to therapy, because I suggest to you, if you are a parent and you took a 2-year-old child, male or female, doesn't matter, but equip that 2-year-old child with the power and the strength of an 18-year-old young man. Just take that little 2-year-old body and wrap it in the strength and power of an 18-year-old young man. Now that 2-year-old child, with that strength and power, if they want and desire something that you have, let's say you have a watch and they want to play with the watch, what is that 2-year-old child going to do to get that to the watch? You're going to say, no, you can't have the watch. No, no, no. They'll rip your arm off and beat you over the head with their own arm, because it doesn't matter what you say to them. They're going to go after what they want. Unless you're into some physical restraint and physical discipline, that child is going to want to rip off your arm and beat you over the head with it, because they want what they want and they've got the power to do it. I set up a scenario where that would happen. I'm just pointing out to the child, with their intellect and their emotional development, their psychological development, are not equipped with the wisdom to know that they shouldn't rip off your arm and beat you over the head with it. That when we are giving kids access to something that is so powerful, without the oversight, without looking at it, without inspection, and attributing them to be a angelic little deity with this halo and wings, and that they are incapable of making poor choices and making bad decisions, or you're going to wait until the evidence of being caught or tattletaled on to act on it, but you still don't have the evidence as to what that kid is doing. You're relying upon some other means. So I'm here to tell you the number one risk that puts your child at risk on the internet is you not seeing what they're doing. Now, that's age appropriate, emotionally development, responsibility. But if you don't see what they're doing, you don't supervise what they're doing, you don't inspect and verify what they're doing, you have created a false premise for what your child is doing on the internet. You can say that they have time to go to YouTube because I block these other things off. They have time to do this on the internet because I block these things off. But if you aren't aware of how the internet works and how applications work, and you're absolutely ignorant to terms like vault apps or ghost apps, and your children know what they are, to see who spoke to and what she's done. But here's a cool thing, Angel Eyes. There's these things called vanishing apps, such as Cyberdust. Cyberdust, somebody can make a post on your Facebook profile that will be there for a limited period of time, and then it disappears. Now this is very popular. It's used primarily in the business community, but kids are starting to pick it up. It's kind of like the Snapchat kind of experience, but it interacts directly with Facebook and social media and Twitter. And it's very huge on Twitter, that you just create this post, which can be inflammatory, cyberbullying, sexting, that it goes out there, creates this massive pain for somebody, and then it disappears. Now, I tell you, things on the internet never disappear, but on your Facebook profile, if somebody comes in, puts a post, I had this experience on mine, but don't have it anymore. I've blocked some of these people. That because I had been rather passionate on certain topics that were important to me, I would have strangers come into my profile that were friends of friends, and they would make posts, or they would tag on my wall because they had a contrary opinion than I did. Jordan Sand, thanks for coming in from Russia. I appreciate that. So they would come in and they would post something incredibly horrible on my wall. And I would see it because I get the little notification. I'd see it, and I'd have to make a choice. Do I respond to this? Do I delete it? What do I do? And then it would disappear on its own. So I had people that would come in and just spam me with nasty stuff with the Vanishing app just to upset me and my audience. And that happens, and parents aren't aware of those things. Children are receiving the insult of that, but there's no history or trail or record of that activity. Short of a screenshot. Do a screenshot, you can get that history that you can share, or some other forensic research, you can go back and find it. But so my number one tip right now is about no supervision, no awareness, oversight. That your attribution of your child experiencing in the internet in a sandbox that's gated off, I'm going to tell you, in that sandbox as well, Easter eggs, spyware exists. I'm going to say that certain cats have climbed into your sandbox and have left several treats in that sandbox that you're also not aware of. But that's a whole other different topic. But I'm just saying people believe their children are safe based upon their experience on the internet, and I suggest that they think that experience is controlled. And they have no control on it because they're not seeing what's happening in that experience. They're building a false premise. So I wanted to put that out there. Go back. The other day I did this Periscope on trolls and defining and educating a bit about trolls. And I said those that commented during that, I sent out an email which gave you a copy of what I did as a teaching moment for that. Never heard of Cyberdust before. Oh yeah, that's a Mark Cuban. It is. It has some business applications to it. As I say, not all applications are bad. It's how they can be used for bad we just need to be aware of so we can protect from that bad. So I use many, many, many tools and applications for various reasons as it relates to what I'm trying to accomplish in a day's worth of work. But at the same time, I have to look at what are the offsetting risks. When I tell people about it, you can make your own decision. Make your own choices as to whether your children are give access to that and how they could use it, or how do you manage their use of it. That's all on you. I'm here to speak to parents and caregivers about how to keep their kids safe. And I'm constantly, X-Ray, welcome, that the not my parent, not my child, and the angelic attribution of the child is silly. But it's a message that parents don't want to hear because it requires them to step up and take some responsibility. Olympic Greg, thanks for sharing that. Take some responsibility. And when I say these things, people fear that it is such an overwhelming task. Well, I was posting with somebody on my Facebook wall last night that they were researching about these different apps, and I'm like, holy smokes, why would you spend $20 a month on this application that you can do it on your own? Why are you spending $20 per month to get a report on what's happening on Facebook, to get a report that's happening on Twitter, and you have to pay more money per additional social media profiles? I'm like, are you kidding me? Because the only thing you're going to get is an email that shows you what activity your kids are doing on these social media platforms, that you're paying them to give you that report, as opposed to you sit down, log into your child's account and look. Why do you want to pay somebody else to give you that information when you can sit right in the computer and do it yourself? And the same issue surfaces, that they're giving you the information for you to look at. If you don't look at it, it's meaningless. So why are you paying $20 for something you may or may not look at when you have the access to look at it now? You're going to spend $20 as an insurance policy that they will tell you that they saw something suspicious? That's not their job. They're not the parents. They don't know what your worldview is and what your boundaries are. They're just going to give you raw data. And what frustrates me is I see countless of these apps pop up. And I'm thinking, people are paying for this garbage? That This functionality is available to you today under your current contract with your cell phone provider. This information is available to you based upon Gate setting up your Google preferences. Hello, how are you doing, Maria? So, and if people have that kind of disposable money that they can spend $20 for a pill that makes them feel good that they've spent money to protect their kid, oh, okay. I mean, that's cool. I'm looking at, you have to look at it anyway. I am well, Maria. I'm about keeping kids safe on the internet. I talk to parents and caregivers about how to keep their kids safe. My number one topic today is about what kids are doing. Without parents seeing it, there's no way for them to ensure their kids are safe. That's the number one thing. The activities that put your kids at risk is when they get on the internet, the first thing is parents aren't seeing what you're doing. Now, that's based upon your age and your responsibility and as to what that relationship has been over time relative to using the internet connection. But I'm speaking to a very broad audience, very broad age group, and that if you're a parent with a new child, considering getting them technology for the holiday, and it's going to be some iDevice or some smartphone or what have you, the number one thing you need to do is establish a relationship between you, that child, that device, and how you're going to see everything that goes on that until they've developed the responsibility and maturity for them to gain additional access. So you gate it all the way down, and then you extend access based upon still maintaining that visibility. You never give up that visibility. You may reduce the amount of it, but you never give it up. You always have access. You never relinquish access. You always have password control. You never relinquish that. This is your legal, contractual, ethical responsibility. I appreciate that, Olympic Greg. It is extreme. It is very appropriate. It's very important to consider, and I am a proponent of taking action. If we consider it and we choose not to act on it, then we're staying where we are in status quo. I'm of the opinion that if children are going to continue down this path and people are just considering what I'm talking about, that evidence is going to manifest itself at some point, that the traumas that are happening on the internet are going to come home to roost, and the pain is going to be greater as opposed to the steps of taking action today. You have the ability now, based upon what I say. Yeah, absolutely. There's an issue that's happening on other social media platforms, live streaming platforms, but the issue is that I am on the side of proactive, to empower and educate and motivate, to stimulate the awareness. Yeah, I know. I got in my other profile, I've got a bunch that are in there, but that's my goal, is to draw awareness to it. Yep. And then be proactive to prevent the trauma from happening. And I'm not saying that it minimizes or eliminates the possibility of that trauma, but it gives you the ability to have the wisdom to see the trauma coming in advance of the evidence. So the evidence, what I talk about, is the really bad stuff. But if you're able to notice the telltale signs, bots on nearly every person's bio. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's disconcerting. Samuel Bardelli, thank you. Yeah. Gandalf. Oh, that's kind of funny. Wow. No, I think he meant in the conversation. I think that he was referring to when he was watching the stream, there were a lot of bots coming in. Billa. Wow. That's sad. But it's unavoidable. It's unavoidable. This is a great platform, and whether it's something that is survivable and it's going to be mainstream, or if it's a fad, don't know. Samuel, that's not my topic in my broadcast. I appreciate you asking the question. If you're interested in utilizing Periscope to enter in other people's broadcasts, ask questions, I would ask it be on topic. If not, you could start your own Periscope and you could poll people that would come into you to answer questions such as that. I'm sorry, I didn't see those last two comments come in. I was addressing Samuela. in other social media platforms, these bots are coming in as well. And whether Periscope is going to be around for a long time or not I don't know. I mean, social media applications come and go, and some have traction, and we use them for what they are, for when we use them. And this is just a good platform for me, and it serves multiple purposes. Fastest growing app, apparently. As far as people attaching to it, the number of viewers based upon broadcasters is significantly different, but that's totally cool. It's a cool platform. I like it. I have had other conversations this morning that I may or may not broadcast about based upon the conversations I had yesterday. People were officials reconnected with me and were diving into me a little bit deeper. Can you make your own version of Periscope too? There is something similar on open source. What? Yes, that's true. But they're not angels. They're angels. They don't really throw a fit because they're angels, because they don't do anything wrong. A sex bot did a Skyped interview with said broadcast. Well, there's this platform called Get Live. I think that's what it's called, and I'm not sure if that's if it's something similar to that. So you can create your own live streaming platform that will download the videos, and you can have people participate, or is it just kind of like Audacity that you can screen record? I don't know. That's interesting. I will check it out. I will check it out. I haven't looked at that for a while. So that was tip number one. Wanted to go through that. The number one thing that put kids at risk is being connected to the internet with parents having no oversight. Yes, Go Live is new. You can sign up and get your own site, and it's free, and they haven't turned it on yet. At least I haven't received notice that they've turned it on. I've got my site ready to see what it looks like when it does go live. But there's other live streaming tools. There's so many of them, and they just keep popping up. And this is just one platform. I haven't gone over to Meerkat yet because I think that would divide my attention. But I'm back to my point, is the one thing that puts your child at risk on being connected to the internet is not having any visibility on what they're doing. No oversight, no inspection, no supervision, just assuming that they're playing in this sandbox that I referred to. Brendan O. I don't know if it's Brendan O or Brendy K now. Cool. Thanks for coming in. So then I'm going to be continuing because I have 5 of these that I want to go through, and this is just number one, and it is absolutely the number one, top of the list, because everything builds based upon that. There's synergy on how do you secure your children's safety on the internet starts with that one. If you drop that one off the mix, all the others don't matter, because it's a mindset. It's a behavior that if you abandon the oversight, you abandon the inspection, you abandon the supervision, and you put technology into their hands and assume what they're doing on there, that they will tell you, that they will behave, they'll make wise choices, you are living in the grandest of delusions. And Kansas, I don't want to trademark that, but that is where you are. You're living in the grandest of delusions to assume your child is safe with no visibility into what they're doing. So that's okay. A big fictional world of fairies, the grand illusion. Yes, unicorns, fairies. So what do you think of my new Twitter account with the Troll Hunter? I don't know if Fran has seen that one yet. I'm going to build my troll army. Did you see the series of tweets? Yeah, she wouldn't answer that, would she? That's okay. That's what that Twitter account's been around for forever. So I have no problem being linked to that. So Olympic Greg, I did an episode just the other day on trolls, and I am the contrarian of how to deal with trolls. Oh no, I hate that. I already hate you, Richard. And that you did see that. Oh, I didn't see you come in yesterday. I apologize for that. I hope that was informative for you because I am truly, I view these people as in a lot of pain. I actually am coordinating an interview with a, oh, okay, cool, with a psychoanalyst. She does psychoanalytic therapy, psychodrama, and it is on the topic of parenting and children and the digital experience. So we've had a preliminary introduction, and we've been connected. I'm going to have a subsequent introduction or a subsequent conversation because I really want to dive into her head. I have a limited understanding of psychodrama and psychodynamics. We also have a bit of positive, proactive nature. Fantastic. Please, I invite you to participate on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/parentdome. Just click on that page. Communicate with me through there. I'd never claim to have all the answers, and I welcome feedback and criticism and contribution because I'm one lone guy out here with a very powerful voice and an ambitious mission, and I welcome other people. Uh-oh. I'm getting tweeted while I'm talking here. Holy smokes. Bear with me for 1 second. Bear with me a second. I'm waiting to involve Perry New. So, I think is Troy Holt a Perry newbie? That's a tribe, I think. Is that right? Olympic Greg? Nope. Okay. Don't know Troy Holt. Okay. So some of those tribes, I participate in watching the broadcasts of different tribes. So I watch the Perry Girls, I watch the Body Positive tribes, and they do Pass the Cast kind of broadcasts, which are really cool. Dana Gardner and her her pretty cool. Oh, let me see, Richard. Let me see. I'm over here. Oh boy. A website where people can give us evidence and show us trolling in action so we can use it for statistics. Oh, yeah, okay. I see it. It's trolled by clicking on a button. So how do you put your link in your profile so people can click on it? So when I go into my settings, yes, I've participated with Ray Garcia. Arvin Pool, I don't know. Thanks for typing that in it. That's awesome, Richard, based upon what you're saying, because I would love to get stuff that's off of Catch, because that makes it a lot easier. If it's just off of their Periscope TV account, it's a pain in the neck to download those chunks and then reformat it and upload it and edit it. But that's not to say it can't be done. It just takes longer. It's more heavy lifting to do that. But if there's a way to put a notification out to people that says, if you experience trolls on your broadcast, send us a link to your catch, and we'll be the reporting agency. We'll be the repository for what Periscope doesn't do. In which somebody was communicating with us saying, yeah, the Periscope responds to the reports. Report a troll. Right. And maybe that's a side business that I set up something off on the side to just report. Biocheck for newbies previously focused on basic functionality. Oh, so this is for new people coming into Periscope, and he kind of teaches them about how to function within Periscope. Am I understanding that right? Demarv, welcome. That's a cool service. I was thinking I have access to a series of courses to help people in Periscope, and there's